Hey guys, it's Carlos from Daily Carry Solutions. I'm here live at SHOT Show 2022 at the Kansept booth with Eric from the Outer Limitless YouTube channel and somebody that I'm going to go ahead and bring into focus in just a second. Now, I do want to go ahead and stress that Kansept Knives was a company that we first saw at SHOT Show 2020. Now, they had a limited line. Kim Ning had just wanted to get everything together, and then unfortunately, COVID struck. But with the pandemic being what it was, they were hard at work behind the scenes, collaborating with some great designers to come out with what is now a huge catalog of EDC knives for every size of hand that is out there in the biz. Now, whether you like G10, whether you like micarta, whether you like titanium, if you're an anodized type of person, if you like natural G10, if you like small, if you like big, thin, thick, they have it for you. Now, we have somebody that I was able to go ahead and run into while we were here at the booth, and it's my buddy Marshall. And Marshall, I see some of your knives over here. One of them, which is one of my personal favorites, is the Goblin. But I see something that's a little bit bigger than that, than it should be. So let's talk about that.
In 2020, we started with the Goblin, designed many years back as a good, hardy, compact EDC. And a lot of people, they really liked the design, they liked everything about it, but it was just a little smaller than what they wanted. So we obliged them and came out with a larger one. And this is the Goblin XL, 3.5-inch blade, coming in right at about 6.5 ounces. Everything is pretty much the same, but with the larger size, we were actually able to incorporate a lanyard post because everybody wanted a lanyard on these. They spidey flick well, they front flip well, you can slow roll them, everything you want to do, nice and compact, semi-deep carry pocket clip, designed specifically for tactical pants.
And I'm glad you actually mentioned that because that was something that really caught my eye when I first went ahead and picked this up. I actually have an all-black version of the standard Goblin, you know, while it wasn't a deep carry clip, it fit really good in my pocket. I mean, I use it for in an office setting and even just a casual EDC. Most people saw it and they're like, wow, that's a pretty small knife. In fact, my HR people kind of looked past it because they're like, oh, that's a really small knife. But you get a lot out of it. I mean, looking at the standard version here, a lot of people don't realize that once it's deployed, you do get your fingers over here, but then you use this little space right here and put that extra finger, and you get a really good purchase on the knife. So whether it's just a standard grip like this, or you're going to go ahead and put your index finger up here in the front for a more precise cut.
Yes.
I mean, this thing is extremely useful. And I mean, with S35VN steel, they have imported, that's imported from the US.
Yes.
It's top tier materials. I think that it translates extremely well into the design.
Yeah, and a neat bit of trivia on this, I've always liked small knives, but they're hard to carry, hard to use sometimes because you're never sure of your grip. So one of the ways I went about designing a substantial, basically big little knife was I designed a full 3-inch blade and cropped the tip and the handles off because I wanted a handle you could really get your hand on and hold securely, not be fumbling with it. Because when you get into a 2-inch blade knife like this, often you have a narrow blade. They're usually no wider than the grind is on this one, and this little skinny petite handle, and you're always unsure if it's going to fold in your hand or the lock's going to give or just slip out of your hand and cut yourself. So I wanted something substantial, and I called it the big little knife.
Definitely, and I think that that's something that you touched up on, and that's something that I typically bring up when there's usually small or slimmer knives. When you're using them for an extended period of time, it almost feels like it's not that it creates a hot spot, but your hand starts to feel cramped because it feels like it's you're struggling to be able to maintain a nice secure grip on the knife.
Right.
And I've never had that problem with the Goblin, even though it's deceptively small, which is what I like to call it. And so I really like the fact that you put that design element in there.
Thank you.
And it shows that you really, you had your ducks in a row with that.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, being a fan of small knives too, it's one of these things that I wanted something that you knew you had a grip on.
And I think that has been executed extremely well. And now, going to the larger version, it doesn't look like they've just taken it and kind of blown it up a bit. So can you kind of talk about how the aesthetics kind of were translated?
So for me, the aesthetics were critical. I had a design, I liked it, I had great feedback on it. So it is proportionally larger. Some people don't like it, but most people have been loving it because the handle's slender. You can wrap your hands around it good. You still got that handle integrated choil there that you can choke up on. You've got decent relief for your lock release. And you can get a nice secure grip, a reverse grip on it. You can come all the way down almost to the sharpening choil and lever with your thumb. This point back here can be for compliance in joints and pressure points. You know, with the big one, I kept it the same because even with this little guy, I knew a lot of women would like this, and you could get in and really just bury the end of this handle into somebody and create enough pain. So I kept women in mind with it. In fact, it was almost designed for women initially, for like my wife and other females that I knew that were kind of timid with knives, but I wanted them to have a useful tool.
Now, speaking of useful tool, okay, I saw something that is actually much, much smaller than the Goblin, and I just had to talk about this. Let's talk about this little guy right here. This is the mini Corvid?
So this is the mini Corvid designed by Koch Tools. This is a very popular one. My wife kind of wants one. 154 cm, stainless liners. They offer in a wide variety of colors of G10. And this actually has two opening methods. Most people don't realize it. So you've got the traditional flipper back here, and then when you disengage it, you've got the tang protruding up here, and you can front flip it open as well.
Oh wow, I just realized that right now. Yeah, no, I was thinking more of like the full, just kind of like a two-handed opening right here.
So this has, the full-size Corvette has all the options that you can have out there. You've got the fuller on it. On the full size, you can actually spidey flick it. You've got the front flipper, the regular flipper, and a thumb stud. So you just couldn't incorporate the thumb stud on something this small.
You know, I'm gonna be honest, this kind of looks like Honey, I Shrunk the Corvid.
His and hers model.
Wow, okay, I guess you could say that, yeah. And I like the fact that what they've actually ended up doing with this one is they've done away with the pocket clip.
Yeah.
This is actually something that's pretty cool because it'll go ahead and slip into like a fifth pocket.
Yes.
You know, or if you have a little lanyard, I could see some pretty cool lanyards being attached to this.
Right.
To create something kind of unique.
And that lanyard would make it even more secure in your hand because right now at best this is a two-finger grip.
Yeah.
I have slightly larger than medium hands and I can barely get 2 fingers on it. So having that lanyard hole is critical.
Now, it's definitely not the case with the XL, and I'm glad that they dubbed it that because it's a bit extra medium if you ask me.
Oh yeah, but the nice thing about the XL, unlike a lot of your cleavers which are really overbuilt, you have a super thin slicey edge. You could actually do food preparation with this.
I did notice that, yeah. I mean, let's check that out here. That's a really nice grind that they were able to go ahead and perform on here. It's still got that fuller that's translated on the smaller version.
Yeah.
But it just feels really good in the hand, you know?
Yeah.
Usually when you get a knife and you create a larger model, sometimes the aesthetics are lost a little bit. You can't just take a knife and just kind of make it big, you know, just kind of blow it up in AutoCAD.
Right.
And being that you're a knife designer, you can understand that.
Oh,
exactly. You can appreciate something like that. So I think that's pretty cool that they have, you know, the XL and just the small Corvette. And I mean, look at the difference. It almost feels like it's one of those lapel pins that you put on here, you know? But let me tell you, it'll cut you.
Oh, yes.
Now, going into the next one, I saw this right over here. And I hate to have to keep pulling these small knives, but this is definitely worth talking about. Can you tell me a little bit about this little guy right here?
So this is the Rio. It's a 4T5 designs collaboration. It's a front flipper, or you've got the fuller there to work like a nail nick on a traditional pocket knife, how that would work. Steel liners, black titanium carbo-nitride coated titanium scales, and believe it or not, on a knife this small, it's an M390 blade.
Wow, okay.
And they're very generous on the blade stock, so it's a stout little guy, has a bit of a substantial feel, but a nice long grind on it, almost like a Kiridashi that folds. So you actually have good edge geometry on it, and you can do some serious cutting with it. And once you figure out the sweet spot to hold it, it front clips really easy.
Wow, okay. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, there's a couple of options that Kansept seems to be able to come up with that are compact but extremely slicey.
Yes.
And seem to fit really good in a fifth pocket. So for that ultra concealment, just to kind of take it out and use it, something that would be friendly for people with maybe small hands, so the female crowd, or maybe even people that don't want to look like they seemingly have a pocket knife on them. You know, just go ahead and stick that into your fifth pocket somewhere, and you're good to go. You
or
know,
even in a purse. You
Yeah.
know, but purses are lined with all these little pockets in there. I don't know what women use them for, but you know, put a knife in one. You know, with something small like this, they're not going to get worried about what people are going to think about them because it just vanishes into their purse.
Okay, Marshall, so I was looking at a couple of knives on here before I even came to the booth, and one that really grabbed my attention was this guy right here. I really need to know a little bit about this.
So this is a Nalu design. It's called the Entity. It's going to be offered in a couple of configurations. This one here is an S35VN. This is new for this year. They haven't quite come out yet. Titanium handle, deep carry pocket clip. They will be offering it in a titanium carbo-nitride coated handle and Damascus blade. Nalu, of course, is a very popular custom knife maker, and you get a reasonable blade length, a nice, comfortable handle, great belly, a harpoon that goes on for days, and just really a sleek, sexy design.
I dig it. I mean, and even when you have this bare titanium, it allows you to be able to go ahead and customize it yourself.
Exactly.
You know, give it that anodized look, kind of give it that distressed look. You can dura coat this. You can do a bunch of stuff.
In the world of
possibilities.
YouTube, there's videos for every kind of colorization, tweaking, at-home hack for coloring titanium that you can find. You know, all day you can go and you can play on that.
Now, just as a brief disclaimer, neither Marshall nor myself are responsible for the fact that if you get electrocuted or if something happens and you end up growing another appendage. We had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but just all, you know, in the sake of a release of liability, we just wanted to go ahead and say that. But in any case, thanks for telling me a little bit about this. I really, really got to go ahead and check this out. And this isn't even out yet, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, this should be coming out shortly. It is a 2022 model, but it's debuting here at the show.
And this is the Entity from Nalu?
The Entity from Nalu.
So Marshall, we've actually come across some really cool new knives, especially some that haven't really hit the shelves yet. I'm glad that you were able to go ahead and execute the XL. The Goblin is a personal favorite of mine, and it was really cool running into you here at the booth to kind of talk shop and talk knives. I mean, especially with this upgraded catalog that Kansept has now going into 2022. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of you from the line, but in the meantime, have a great SHOT Show, man.
You too. Thank you.